So when we look at people's lives, it isn't really the length of their lives, it's the quality. Yet looking around our nation, we can see that the quality of people's lives is going down the gurgler. They're getting worse and worse, sicker and sicker. So you've got two options. You can sit around and get ill, or you can do something about it. So the very first part of this journey, in my view, is desire. What is your desire? What is your desire to consolidate your power? What is your desire to become free? What is your desire to perceive the world in a different way? Can you let go of where you find yourself today? You gotta want to, and that's the first move. Many don't follow through to the end. Maybe these people don't really have a desire to change. In the end, the laziness of the ego, the self-indulgence of the ego, the importance of the ego will kill you. So at some point, you actually wind up being in a war with yourself. If you let the ego win, then you're bound to fail. Because in the end, if your word isn't law to you, then your mind knows it isn't. You say you're going to do something and you don't. What happens is the mind gets stronger. The ego gets stronger. It dominates your life even more. It harasses you more. So that's what this thing's all about. It's about desire to evolve, desire to become something different.
When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that. And forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. And after all, if you do really like what you're doing, it doesn't matter what it is, you can eventually turn it, you can eventually become a master of it. It's the only way to become a master of something, to be really with it. And then you'll be able to get a good fee for whatever it is. So don't worry too much. Somebody's interested in everything. And anything you can be interested in, you'll find others who are. But it's absolutely stupid to spend your time doing things you don't like in order to go on spending things you don't like, doing things you don't like, and to teach your children to follow in the same track. See, what we're doing is we're bringing up children and educating to live the same sort of lives we're living, in order that they may justify themselves and find satisfaction in life by bringing up their children, to bring up their children to do the same thing. So it's all retch and no vomit. It never gets there. And so, therefore, it's so important to consider this question: what do I desire?
So, in terms of how to get more money, again, it's, there's no simple formulas. So, in terms of success and financial success, many of us have read the books on finances, and we've read, success coaches and so on. I still think it comes down to finding out what we love doing, what captures our imagination. Each of us has our hidden strengths and hidden gifts. And meanwhile, of course, you do the best you can at the time. You handle what appears in front of you. You do the best job available to you to make the most money. But I believe sincerely that peaceful warriors, and that's all of us. See, meaning is not something we find in our work, it's something we bring to it. Spirituality, spirit, is not what we find, it's what we bring to what we do. So when we recommit to doing what we do really well and using it as a means of our own personal growth and development, our job becomes something more than it was. And if you do a job well, and if you bring your energy to it, eventually you rise, eventually you find opportunities. We find ourselves where we are, and the key is to do that as best we can.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, and you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up, being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society, and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. And if you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it. You got to have passion.
I'll tell you who the successful people are. A success is the school teacher who's teaching school because that's what she wanted to do. The success is the woman who's a wife and mother because she wanted to become a wife and mother and is doing a good job of it. The success is the man who runs the corner gas station because that's what he wanted to do. The success is the successful salesman who wants to become a top-notch salesman and grow and build with his organization. A success is anyone who is doing deliberately a predetermined job because that's what he decided to do deliberately. But only 1 out of 20 does that. That's why today there isn't really any competition unless we make it for ourselves. Instead of competing, all we have to do is create. The human mind isn't used merely because we take it for granted. Familiarity breeds contempt. It can do any kind of job we assign to it, but generally speaking, we use it for little jobs instead of big important ones. Universities have proved that most of us are operating on about 10% of our abilities. Decide now, what is it you want? Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you'll ever make in your entire life. Most men will tell you that they want to make money without understanding the law. The only way to earn money is by providing people with services or products which are needed and useful. We exchange our product or service for the other man's money. Therefore, the law is that our financial return will be in direct proportion to our service. Don't concern yourself with the money. Be of service. Build, work, dream, create. Do this, and you'll find there's no limit to the prosperity and abundance that will come to you. This is the strangest secret in the world.
And I have a firm belief in this now, not only in terms of my own experience, but in knowing about the experiences of other people. When you follow your bliss, and by bliss I mean the deep sense of being in it and doing what the push is out of your own existence, you follow that and doors will open where you would not have thought there were going to be doors, and where there wouldn't be a door for anybody else. And there's something about the integrity of a life, and the world moves in and helps.
You are the vanguard of knowledge and consciousness, a new wave in a vast ocean of possibilities. On the other side of that door, there's a world starving for new ideas, new leadership. I've been out there for 30 years. Fear is going to be a player in your life, but you get to decide how much. You can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about the pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here, and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. I'm saying I'm the proof that you can ask the universe for it. My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love.